So today we're going to be doing a full head shave, and we're going to be taking all this off using the straight razor. Normally what I would do is take this all down with clippers first and then follow it up with the foil shaver to make it nice and smooth. But today we're just going to go right in. Whenever you do any kind of shave, some people are not sure whether a foil shaver or a straight razor is better. I actually like to use both. And normally I use it before using the straight razor, but in this case we're going to use it after. But I like to use them both to get the maximum closeness for a shave. All right, so here's the key to a smooth shave. You need to keep the skin moist. You need to keep it tight, so you're going to see me stretching the skin, and then the right angle and the right pressure. If you got those things, you're going to get a smooth shave. So the first thing we're going to do is get this area nice and moist. We're going to wet it, put some shave gel, lather, and then we're going to heat it up because the heat from the towel actually helps to release skin oil, and it's going to help keep that razor gliding on the skin. First, I'm going to use plain old water. When you're doing a shave, it's important that you get the skin underneath the hair wet or moist. It's not the hair itself that you're trying to get wet, it's the skin underneath, because that's what the razor is actually going to be gliding on. So whenever you're prepping a client or yourself to shave, you really want to make sure you work the shave gel, the water, the cream down onto the scalp, so that way the razor glides more smoothly. We're going to use some shave gel now on top of that. This is shave gel. All right, so now we are going to use a lot of shave gel for this. But we're just trying to massage it down into the scalp. Basically just doing this to show that it's possible to not have to take all this hair off. But I would not do this normally. Normally what I would do is take all this hair down first and then use the razor. But I just want to show you guys that, you know, maybe if you're in a hurry or you're doing this at home, you can just skip that whole first step of taking it down and just go right in with the straight razor. The reason I don't like doing this too is because it makes a huge mess, as you guys will see, because there's just a ton of hair that's going to be falling off in clumps, versus if I buzz it off first, there's a lot less residue falling off. And then as just our third layer, we're just going to add some shave gel or shave cream, because why not? A lot of people ask me what's better, shave gel versus shave cream. I almost always say that shave gel is better because it doesn't dry out as fast. It doesn't cover up any moles, or in the case of if you're trying to line up a beard, it doesn't cover up the lines, so it's easier to keep the straight lines. But the shave gel does have some purpose here in the shop in that it's nice and warm, so it feels nice. And if you're not trying to do anything like super precise, like cleaning up the back of somebody's neck, then the shave cream is great for that. But if you're trying to be precise, beard trims, or you're doing something where you want to see underneath, then I would not recommend shave cream for that. As a barber, I would recommend choosing shave gel, a clear shave gel, over shave cream in 99% of the cases. If you have the ability, I strongly recommend you use a hot towel prior to a shave. So typically whenever I do a head shave, I typically leave the hot towel on for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Any more than that, and it's starting to cool down, especially because we have fans in the shop. So 30 to 60 seconds is fine. Any longer than that, it's probably starting to have the opposite effect. So while that's warming his head up, I'm gonna load my razor. This is why your razor is dull when you shave. Putting your razor. A lot of people make the mistake of putting the blade in here, and then they put it in like this. And then they push down on top of the station or the countertop to push the blade in more. When you do that though, this blade is so thin that when you push it down on the countertop like that, it actually dulls it. So instead, what I want you guys to do is use your fingers either on the side. Don't push it with your thumb like that, but grab it from the side and push it in as far as you can, and don't put it on the counter, and your blade will be a lot sharper. It's time for this to come off now. So I kind of follow the same pattern whenever I do a head shave. I usually start at the crown and I work my way out into this umbrella pattern because this is usually the way that most people's hair grow. And because most people too also their hair is the thickest on the back of their head, that's usually where I start because the hair is going to be at its softest right when I take the towel off. So I want to try to work on the area that has the most hair while it's the softest. I can always reapply a towel, reapply shave gel, but I'm going to start right here. All right, the first thing I got to do here is clear a spot for my thumb so that we can properly stretch the skin. All right, so that's my little spot there. Now that that area is a little dry, there you go. Now we got a dry area for my thumb, so that's going to help stretch the skin a lot more. Good?
Yeah.
All right, here's a tip for a smoother shave. So as you can see here, if you don't stretch the skin at all, do you see how much the skin moves with the blade? So not only is it not getting as close as it could be, but you're increasing the chances that you're gonna cut yourself if you don't stretch the skin. So one of the easiest things you can do is just find a dry spot for your thumb, put it right there, and stretch the skin as much as possible. As you can notice, now the skin doesn't move nearly as much, which is going to reduce the irritation and reduce the need to go over that spot so many times because it's keeping the skin tight. So if you want to get a closer shave, a more irritation-free shave, then just try to stretch that skin as much as possible. So now we're moving on to the side of the head. So if you notice, this hair is growing forward. So we are trying to shave with the grain, which means I'm gonna probably be doing this angle while I'm working on this side. Definitely gonna have to change the cape after this one. All right, so this is probably a good spot to stop, reapply more shave gel and cream. Probably gonna change my razor out now, because what's another benefit of taking it down before you do this is that your razor will last a lot longer. So with removing this amount of hair with a straight razor without taking it down first, chances are you're probably gonna have to change your razor out, which is fine. If this is the technique you prefer, just know that that comes with it. So I'm gonna reapply some shave gel, shave lather, change my blade out, put another hot towel on, and then we'll finish up the second half. We always use our hands in the barbershop to put on shave gel and shave cream, because shave brushes are not legal to use in the state of Florida, at least, because they can't be disinfected. So be wary of any barbers that are using shave brushes on you, or anything that can't be disinfected, because you run the risk of infection if they use that on you. So just like on the other side, I'm gonna find the way that the direction the hair is growing in, which is usually this way, and that's the direction I'm gonna shave in. Because there's actually three different ways, three different directions you can shave in. In the barbershop, we typically shave with the grain, which is going with the direction of the hair growth. If you wanna get closer, you can shave across the grain. So you can shave perpendicular to the direction of the hair growth. And then if you want to get the maximum closeness, then you would shave against the grain. We typically don't do that in the barbershop unless the clients ask for it, or if there's a situation where that's just how you have to do it because of the way the hair grows. But going against the grain when you shave is the closest shave you can possibly get. You just risk cutting the client, causing ingrown hairs if you do that. That's typically why we go against the grain, usually with the foil shaver. This is a foil shaver. If we're gonna shave against the grain in the barbershop, we typically use one of these. If it's a straight razor, we're going either with the grain or across the grain. Is that a minute? Okay. Let's go. Okay. All right, ready? Ooh, ain't nothing like a new razor. These blades that we use cost about 1 penny each, so don't be cheap as a barber, or even if you're using a razor on yourself at home. If you're starting to feel it tug and pull, just put a new one in there. It doesn't cost that much, and you reduce the risk that you're gonna cut somebody or irritate somebody's skin if you just use a brand new blade. But if you do the prep before, where you take the hair down prior, then you may not need to switch your blade. It just depends on the client's thickness of their hair and how much hair you're taking off. For example, a full shave on somebody's face will use a lot more of that blade than just trimming somebody's goatee, for example. So if you're shaving yourself at home, you can probably get a few shaves out of a single blade before you have to replace it. The way you would know if you need to change your blade out is if you keep having to go over a spot again and again, or if you keep having to push down harder. And by not changing that blade out, you actually run the risk of irritating your skin even more and causing ingrown hairs. So it's a little counterintuitive, but in order to get a smoother shave, you want a sharper blade. So if you find that it's starting to dull in the middle of a shave, just change it out. That's the beauty of using these straight razors, is that the blade is really easy to change. You don't have to just break out a sharpening stone and do all that. Just put a new blade in there and you're ready to go again. In the barbershop, we can only use one blade per client for sanitation purposes. All right, so when you're doing a head shave on a client or even a skin fade, and you get to their left sideburn, if you're a right-handed barber, it's gonna be kind of hard because of their ear being here to actually shave this area. So this stroke that I'm using right now is called a freehand. The way we can also get this area is by using a reverse freehand stroke. So I'll show you what that looks like. You want to take your razor and you actually want to flip it over, and then you stretch the skin and you shave down like this. So that is how you can get their left sideburn with your right hand without hitting their ear, is just turn the blade over, go down like this, and shave like that. Or if you're ambidextrous, you can use your left hand. But this is what I typically do when in hard to reach areas. All right, so here's a tip for shaving. Whenever I'm shaving, I like to do overlapping sections. So what that looks like is some of my blade is covering some of the area that I already shaved. So the reason I like doing that is because it helps maybe catch any hairs that I might have missed on the last pass. And then, so that every time I move to a new section, I'm gonna put a blade, part of the blade, probably half of it, in the new section that hasn't been shaved, and the other half will just be going over the area that I just went over, because that helps prevent any missed hairs from being left behind. Okay, so we're just gonna find where that hair grows and just start right here. I'm just trying to be mindful of where his cowlick is to make sure I try to stay with the grain as much as possible. Although I used a lot of shave cream on his head today, I definitely think that the shave gel is the better product to use for head shaves. If you don't have shave gel at home, you can actually use something like aloe. Like if something you would put on for sunburns, you can use aloe vera. It's actually what I used to shave for a long time. It's not as thick, but it's actually the main ingredient in a lot of shave gels. They just add something to make it thicker, but a lot of shave gels, if you look at the ingredients, the main ingredient is just aloe vera. And they just add a bunch of thickeners and something to make it smell nice. But what's actually doing the work is the aloe. It's not always possible to shave with the grain in every situation. So here I'm actually going against the grain, which is gonna get a little closer. But you just gotta work with the area that you're working in. With the grain is ideal, but sometimes you gotta go across the grain or even against the grain to get that hair off. Now we're just gonna clean him off, dry his skin out, and then go over everything with the full shaver to make it nice and smooth. Do you want any product for your hair?
Yeah.
This is just a little bit of talc powder. It's actually not talc, it's cornstarch now, because talc might cause some health problems. So we don't actually use talcum powder anymore in the shop. This is basically just cornstarch. And what this is gonna do is basically dry his scalp out so that we can get those loose hairs off a little easier. And usually, so wet skin when you're shaving with a razor is good, but wet skin when you're shaving with a full shaver, not good. So if you want to use a full shaver, you want to actually make sure the skin is super dry. So this is what the talc powder is going to do. Okay. Now that hair is coming off a lot easier now. This is why a barber might use powder on you at the end of the haircut, because it also can help reduce irritation after a shave. But it's mainly to get these like little loose hairs off that might be stuck to your skin. Maybe you're sweating, or they used a lot of shave gel on you like we did in this case. So a little bit of talcum powder before you use a full shaver is a good idea, or just at the end of the haircut to get these little loose hairs off. So now we're just gonna go over everything with the full shaver against the grain to get it nice and smooth. It's already pretty smooth, but this is gonna get it even more smooth, and then he'll be done. This is a Stylecraft Instinct shaver, by the way. This is my favorite shaver right now. The motor runs pretty fast, and as long as this hair is taken down pretty low, this goes right through it. When I'm working with barbers to try to help bring their haircut times down, one of the points that I try to make to them is sometimes you're doing everything right, but you're just doing them in the wrong order. And sometimes by changing the order that you do things in, you can actually shave a lot of time. Literally, in this case, shave a lot of time off your service times by changing the order that you do things in. Because if I would have started with this step, by taking everything down with the full shaver first, I would have probably been done 20 minutes ago. Which is why that's typically the way I do it, and how we train our newer barbers who are new to using a razor, to just take everything down with the full shaver first, and then you just catch any hairs that you missed with the razor. The end result is the same, but by changing the order, you can get the same result in probably half the time. Just feeling for any rough spots now, because sometimes, you know, it looks smooth and then you run your hand over it and you feel a little rough spot, so that's what I'm looking for now. But overall, I think we got most of them. I have to like mop my station now because there's like so much hair and shave gel all over the ground. But do it best for you. What works best for you is typically always the advice that I give to barbers. You know, if you give a good, comfortable shave and your clients are happy and they're coming back, and you prefer to just go in there with the razor, nothing wrong with that. You know, but this video is just meant to show you that there's always another way to do something. You know, you could start with using the full shaver first to take it down. You can just go in there right with the straight razor. They both work. Try both and see what works better for you. This is styptic powder. The brand is Nick Relief. We have to use powder in the barbershop because we can't sanitize the styptic sticks. So in order to use this, all you have to do is put it on your finger or grab a towel and put it right on the spot that is bleeding. So this basically clots the blood and stops the bleeding. If you nick an artery, it's not going to help with that, but anything smaller than that, this will help you. Now keep in mind though, if you want to use a towel that you don't care about. Like these are our cleaning towels, because this will actually permanently stain whatever you put it on. So if you're going to use a towel, use a towel that you don't care about, or a paper towel to apply it to the skin, because otherwise there's going to be a permanent stain on there that will never come out. So you just take a little bit of this powder and just put it right on the spot. It may sting a little bit to the client or to yourself if you're using it on yourself. That's normal. That's just it doing its job, stopping the bleeding. I think we're good.